I was asked by a friend of mine who knows that I'm a Trump supporter and that I'm a black male Trump supporter to respond to this particular post by Michael Baisden Live. What's up with some black men? Yes, the vast majority of them are voting for Biden, but some are voting for Trump. And why can't we count on them to come out in large numbers like black women? This is the man who tried to delegitimize the first black president by calling him Kenyan. This is the man who called protesting NFL players sons of bitches. The Central Park Five, discrimination against black tenants in his buildings, Charlottesville, and the list goes on and on. If this blatant racist doesn't bring out gross, grown ass black men, I don't know what will. Your thoughts? Well, I'm going to give my thoughts in this video, which is probably going to be a little bit lengthy. So, but I invite you to listen and watch and see what you see and actually have an open mind and see what you can learn. Let's go. First off, I want to start off by saying that I am a black male. Yes, a true black male. I am a fifth generation Floridian. I am a Southerner by many more generations. I am a black male. My ancestors were slaves. I am a black male. I can prove it. Just listen to my voice. Do you hear the tenor of my voice? I am a black male. Yes, I love fried chicken. Might be stereotypical, but it's the doggone truth. And if you're black, you're probably more than likely 99% gonna like chicken. It's the holy bird. I think it's sanctified and blessed. Yes, sanctified. Grew up in the church. I am a black male. I know what a scrub board is used for, and it's not just for cleaning clothes. It's for actually making some music to the Lord. I am a black male. I like cornbread. I like collard greens. I like all those things that black men like. I like big butts, and I cannot lie. I am a black male. There's more to it. I am a black male. Do you want me to prove it? I know who Shirley Caesar is. I know who that is. I know who Edwin Hawkins is, Walter Hawkins. Just like I would also know someone like Boyz Men or something like that. I am a black male. I don't have any much more to prove it other than the fact that I am what I am and that I know that I am a black male. And nothing, not even my political view, is going to change that about me. But guess what I am also? A free thinking black male. One more thing before I get into my response to Michael Baisden Live post, the question is why should we vote anyway? I mean, what's the purpose of voting? The purpose of voting is for us to participate in this beautiful republic that we have, to take advantage of our right to be able to say how we should be governed in this beautiful republic that we have. For us to do what our ancestors could not do or could not do easily. And that's not because I have to support something that someone else says I must support. In fact, I'm not looking to support someone who simply is good for the black community. I'm looking for someone who is good for the United States of America and therefore for all communities. Because guess what? I don't just live in a black community. I live in the United States of America. And I have black friends, I have white friends, I have Hispanic friends, I have Asian friends. I have friends from all over the place. And I love them as much as they love me. I'm not concerned about simply the black community. And that does not mean that I exclude the black community because I love my people. I would not want to be anything else but black. I'm extremely proud to be black and love being black. But it does not make me something of someone who needs to follow what someone else says just because it's popular or because my emotions say so. I don't like being lied to. And much of what I do is based upon the truth that I've discovered and I find. And I find nothing but lies with the other party. So here we go. Your mama. Yeah, you heard me. Your mama. Those two words have caused so many fights over the years, especially if you're black. Someone talking about your mama would not only cause you to fight them, but to call them names as well. Probably cussed a few people out, didn't you? They didn't say what your mama was. They didn't say what your mama wasn't. They just said those two words, your mama. And actually, it's so quick that it's like one word, your mama, just all together. And before they're done with the A, the second A in mama, they've been slapped by you. You've done it before. You know you have. Why? Because you love your mother so much that you don't want people talking about your mother. Does that make you a hater of the person called saying your mama? It could have been your best friend for all you knew. But when they said it, that was it. You go back and forth, ranking on each other, then all of a sudden someone just crossed the line and said your mama, and that's it. What am I getting at? I'm getting at the fact that when you have someone who loves his or her country so much, and you see these same people denigrate the flag that represents this country, or the song, the national anthem of the country, yeah, you might very well say the same thing that President Trump said about that group of people and call them what he called them. You may not like it, doesn't make him a racist. In fact, how often do blacks call other blacks MFers? Yeah, you've done it. How often do you call black women the same word? It's a comment, it's a statement. And maybe you don't like it, okay. Doesn't make a person a racist. It makes a person not like what is displayed. You could talk about what they were protesting or what they were not protesting. None of that matters. We're talking specifically about, does calling someone this name make that person a racist? It does not. Something to consider when it comes to blacks in this country as well and honoring the flag. The very blood and sweat and tears of blacks has fertilized the very soil that we live on and that we eat from. I think, for one thing, that this nation of ours, for all of its good, for all of its bad, for all of its ugly, is our home. And I celebrate that home. And we strive to make it better. But the symbols, the things that make us who we are as Americans, because remember, there is no set American ethnicity. But what makes us Americans, what ties us together, these symbols must be honored, must be respected, and they must be praised. Take a look at this video and you tell me. I find it quite ironic that the people who never, ever felt the whip of a slave master are the ones who are much more upset about slavery than the people who actually experienced it. Very ironic. Take a look. Sergeant William Carney,
The
Congressional
Battle of
Medal
Fort
of
Wagner,
Honor
South
recipient.
Carolina, was a defeat for the Union Army, but a galvanizing victory for freedom. The flag bearer for the 54th Massachusetts Regiment was an escaped slave named William Carney. Carl Cruz is his great-great-grandnephew.
When I think of what Sergeant Carney did and its fact that duty was so important, even at a time when the country did not feel that he was a man, but that was really pretty powerful.
Carney and hundreds of other African Americans enlisted in the 54th after President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. The men of the Union's first black regiment went south to fight, knowing that if they were captured, they could be sold back into slavery.
They saw it as an opportunity to show that they were the same kind of patriot as everyone else that was fighting for their country.
In the battle, dramatized in the 1989 movie Glory, nearly half the 54's 600 men were casualties.
Even though they lost the battle, the 54th won everyone's respect because they proved that African Americans could be exemplary soldiers.
Sarah Greeno is curator at the National Gallery of Art, which is preparing an exhibition about the regiment including the first Medal of Honor ever awarded to an African American.
And then here's Carney with his Medal of Honor.
Although shot 3 times, Carney never let the colors fall.
He said, "Boys, the old flag never touched the ground."
Like everything else in the march toward equality, the medal was a long time coming.
Carney did not receive his medal until 1900.
He received it in the mail. It was sent to him to his home in the mail.
Battles in 1863, the medal arrives in the mail in 1900.
37 years later.
150 years later, you can see the 54th's place in the long arc toward justice.
Where would you put the 54th Regiment in the history of the Civil Rights Movement?
I put it right up front, like the March on Washington.
Sergeant William Carney lies buried in his family plot in New Bedford, Massachusetts. His tombstone has been chipped away by souvenir hunters, but he is still right up front. David Martin, CBS News, New Bedford, Massachusetts. David Martin, CBS News, New Bedford, Massachusetts.
Obama, the Kenyan. That was the whole birther question, whether President Obama was born in Kenya. Well, legally speaking, if a parent of a U.S. if a parent is a U.S. citizen and the parent has lived in the U.S. and is one parent, legally speaking, it doesn't matter if the child was born on the moon. That child is a natural born citizen according to state standards. But uh, let's not even worry about that right now. We'll get back to that in a moment. The problem with the whole birthday issue is that people have blamed Donald Trump for promoting it and other birthers whom they say is on the right, they're right-wing racists. But would it surprise you to know that the person who actually first came up with this idea was no other than Hillary Clinton, the black person's love in 2016, since over 90% voted for her. She and her campaign back in 2008 were the first to actually come up with this idea. Yes, it's true. And I have the evidence to back it up. Let's take a look. I so love prime raw data, primary sources, videos, just good stuff. Well, here's the thing. This video clip I downloaded from YouTube last year, as a matter of fact. You can't find it on YouTube anymore. But this is from, of all places, MSNBC. Listen carefully to the discussion.
For Hillary Clinton to come out and criticize anybody for spreading the rumors about Barack Obama, when it all started
on 60 Minutes,
when it all started with her and her campaign passing things around in for Hillary Clinton to come out and criticize anybody for spreading the rumors about Barack Obama, when it all started
on 60
So
Minutes.
you saw right there in the video clip
with
on
her
Morning
and
Joe.
her campaign passing things around in the
On Morning Joe, you see Joe Scarborough's and Mika Brzezinski specifically mentioning that during the Democrat primary of 2008, it was Hillary Clinton's campaign that did this, that started the whole thing. Does that make her racist, Mr. and Miss supporter of Hillary Clinton? Does that make her a racist? And then right there was confirmed by someone within the Democratic Party. Does it make them a racist? I mean, if President Trump is a racist for just questioning whether this man was born in the U.S., okay, and there's some other things we can go into as well, but I'm not even trying to get to those things. Who cares right now at this point about the birther part of it? The reality of it is, does it make a person a racist necessarily because they question whether someone was born here? Okay, whether they question whether the person is eligible to become a president, does it make them a racist? just because they question that because of their birth. There is this stipulation that a person must be a natural born citizen right there in the Constitution. Let's take a further deeper look at this. Does it make them automatically a racist? I mean, it's not like anyone has ever done that before, right? Not right? Don't you think so, right? Let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to a man named Senator Barry Goldwater of Arizona. Barry Goldwater was the Republican nominee for president in 1964. And this particular newspaper article comes from the New York Times. You see it right there inside the address bar where you can look it up. 1964, September 5th, 1964. Look at the title. Citizen issue raised in Goldwater suit. Now, either this man was the first black Republican running for president in 1964, or he's white. And guess what? He is white. And guess what? There's a question about his citizenship based upon his birth. Let's take a look at the story, the article. San Francisco, September 4th. Senator Barry Goldwater is ineligible to become president because he was born in Arizona when it was a territory. Oh my gosh. The California Supreme Court was told today. So now you can keep reading here, and it says that the case was brought against Barry Goldwater to prevent his name from being on the California ballot because he was born in a territory, not in a state at the time, but a territory of Arizona. Thus, the petition said the senator is not a natural born citizen, as required by the Constitution. This is quite interesting. Sounds familiar, right? Only difference is you got a white man, and we're talking about the state of the territory at the time of Arizona in 1909. Mr. Goldwater was born January 1st, 1909. Arizona entered the Union in 1912. The suit was filed by Melvin Belly, a lawyer who once represented Jack L. Ruby. Mr. Belly was retained in the suit by Fact Magazine. So I'm just going to stop there. You can read the rest because it talks about the Constitution and where you find the information about natural born citizen. But this man, who was a white man, was actually taken to court, and they were trying to stop him from running for president. He was born in the territory. People born territories in the territory of the United States territory, they are American citizens, just like Puerto Ricans are natural born citizens. So it's a joke. But tell me something. Was there race involved? I mean, just because you make a person black doesn't mean it's actually racist. You see a case right here where they question his eligibility based upon his birth among the same circumstances. And there is a lot more evidence and reason to believe someone is a citizen, a natural born citizen, if he or she is born in a territory than in a foreign country, okay? That's just a joke. So if they did this to Barry Goldwater, to a Republican, if they did that, uh, people questioning whether President Obama was born in Kenya is not necessarily a racist thing. You can call it what you want to call it, but it doesn't make it racist. In this case, back in the 1970s, the Trump organization had people try to purchase or rent apartments, and the black people, a few of them were told that the apartment was no longer for rent, and a white person came by who was a tester to see if they would get the apartment, and supposedly they were given the apartment, or the black person or Puerto Rican or Hispanic person was uh, told that the price was double what it normally was offered as the apartment was offered. And then in this case, the Trump organization was said to have been discriminating against blacks and against minorities, specifically Puerto Ricans, preventing them from renting the apartments from the organization. Now, President Trump took over his father's business, or worked in his father's business at the time. They rented things out of Brooklyn. President Trump himself started his personal individual business over in Manhattan by himself. The tenants inside of these local areas where the discrimination was supposed to happen was uh, in buildings owned by the Trump organization, which was his father's organization at first. I don't know the specifics of it, particulars of it, but what there ended up being was a settlement in this case, and after 2 years of litigation, and the settlement resulted in there not being any commission of guilt, but some money was paid by the Trump organization to settle the lawsuit. This case might very well be the case of them not wanting black people. I don't know for sure. Don't know if that's the case or if they were looking for a specific type of person to rent their apartments. Let me say it this way. I've never owned a house that I've rented. I'm not a person who owns a property. But have you ever loaned someone something and worried that they would take care of it? And I'm not saying whether they're black or white, but I'm just saying someone who took care of someone's property. Have you ever rented someone's property? And how did you take care of their property? Did you ever trash it? And we're not talking about a color per se. We're talking about, do you take care of people's property? Yes or no? Do people take care of your property if you own property? As a homeowner who rents properties or what have you, would you be concerned about a type of person that rents your property? And so that's the excuse or reason that Donald Trump gives in an interview later on in the late 1980s regarding that, saying that they were trying to watch out for a particular clientele they wanted to avoid. And it's not going to, some of you are not going to like this. He said that he wanted to avoid people who are on welfare and so forth like that. Well, at the end of the day, what type of person do you want living in your property? Do you want them to take care of it or not take care of it? Who's more likely to take care of your property? And he said that they looked out for this, whether the person was white, black, or whatever. It didn't matter. But if there was someone who was on welfare, that they were trying to avoid having those people live inside their home, their apartments, and what have you. That might be economic discrimination. Maybe there is some race discrimination. I'm not sure about the race discrimination for sure, but let's go ahead and say, okay, maybe that was that. I'll give you that. Uh, but to say that a person is straight out racist, I'm not sure that's 100% conclusive in that case.